Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Daily Stand-Up. My name is Lee Henson, president and founder of AgileDad, and without any further ado, let's get started. You know, we are closing out this week of answering the topics that are most important to you by answering yet another email that came in from one of our regular AgileDad podcast Daily Stand-Up listeners, and we really appreciate all of you who listen every day. And this one comes from Jonathan, and Jonathan says, although this may sound self-serving, I love that he started with that. How do we go about convincing leadership that we need AgileDad training for our Scrum Masters and product owners? How do we get you into the organization to do some training and coaching? And, you know, this is a great question, and I want to make sure I emphasize this in the very beginning. There are very many world-class training organizations and coaches out there. There are tons of people out there who can really help you get this hammered down. So I don't want it to sound self-serving. So in order for me to answer the question, I'm going to answer it in a more generic format about how do I make sure I'm getting a great Agile coach out there? How do I make sure I'm getting the right Agile trainer? How do I make sure I'm getting the organization the help that it needs? And how do I convince my organization that this is something that they can do, that it's valuable and that it's worthwhile? So for starters, when it comes to training, it's been proven over and over again that training is a return on investment tenfold. What that means is if you're paying $1 for training, you're going to make your people $10 more productive. You're going to get 10 to 1 back on this. And I think part of it is just the learning curve, that not everyone understands every topic to a degree that, you know, it's not something that they couldn't learn. I guess the easiest way for me to explain it is this. In general, the turnaround for me in an organization that I've seen is about 7 to 1. So what do I mean by that? If it takes you 7 hours to think of something, it would take me 1 hour. If it takes you 7 days, it would take me 1 day. If it takes you 7 weeks, it would take me 1 week. And I think that when you do that math, it comes in profitable really, really, really fast. So I saw a meme online and it said it this way. You know, just because it takes me 1 hour to do something that takes you 7 hours doesn't mean that you should only pay me for 1 hour of my time, because it took me 15 years to learn how to do it in 1 hour as opposed to 7. And I thought to myself, I said, that's a really good idea. That makes sense. That resonates with me. And I wanted to stick with that as a foundation for the topic we're about to discuss. In my opinion, there are really 3 things that you need to have in order to really pull in the right organization to be successful and to help your organization to really kick butt and get things done. So for me, the first item that you need to address, we want to make sure that, this company or organization has a history of success. So you want to find reviews, online, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or Google reviews. You want to find as many reviews as possible from people within other organizations and from organizations that show that, hey, this organization has provided world-class training or coaching for our organization. We've had lots of success. Obviously that's the no-brainer, but it's the one that, many people don't take time to do. If you're constantly looking for the cheapest person to fill the pothole, you're going to be filling that pothole several hundred times, as opposed to finding the one who successfully filled 100 potholes and you've never had to go back and fill them again. So you want to make sure that you find the organization, even if you're paying a little bit more up front, you're going to get that money back tenfold. Training within your organization and coaching within your organization is going to help you accelerate your Agile practice. It's going to help you scale better. It's going to help you apply best principles, and it's going to help you really engage and get the help that you need early, so that you don't wind up working yourself into a debt ditch that you end up having to dig your way out of before you can make any forward progress. So it's better to move forward in a single motion than to have to move back and then forward again. The second thing that I would look for when I'm bringing in an organization is T-shape. And what I mean by that is, I don't want an organization that's done only one thing or that's only been in one industry. You want an organization that has a breadth of experience, but you also want them to have a pragmatic approach to Agile. You don't want someone that's going to be completely dogmatic and say it must be done this way or this is the only way you can do this. You need someone who's going to listen to your organization's unique issues, your unique problems, the things that are happening, and an organization who's going to help you to accelerate and to find creative, unique ways to solve those issues. It's not always just going to be a one-for-one, right? You're going to need somebody who, has walked a mile in your shoes, or someone, if they haven't walked a mile in your shoes, knows who to talk to who has walked a mile in your shoes to be able to solve the issue. And I think that more and more organizations are starting to realize that, even though this is an upfront expense, it's very well worth it. And 3, you want to find someone who's going to bring you continuity in your organization. Now, this isn't a dig on large organizations, but there are several really large training organizations out there that aren't bringing continuity to what they're teaching. They have several instructors who are all very good, but they come from different walks of life, and what you wind up with is a hodgepodge. In my training, I learned this. In Sheila's training, she learned that. Which one's right? And it's not that either of the messages were wrong. It was just in the unique way that they were delivered. One may have been applicable in one scenario, and one may have been applicable in a different scenario. What you need to find is a training organization or a coaching organization that's going to give you some consistency. And that might include, a guarantee that, hey, you're going to make just as much, you're going to make more money in the long run from getting this training than you ever will without it, to the point where they're so confident that they're willing to put their money where their mouth is, that they're willing to say, hey, we guarantee that you'll be able to do this. And I think as a bonus, one of the other things that I'd like to see you look for is an organization who allows you to pay up front and buy a bucket of time, whether it's a bucket of training hours or a bucket of coaching hours, so that way you can use them as you need them. Instead of having someone sitting idly on site for any period of time, you'll have the ability to have, hey, I need a coach for the next couple of days, or hey, I need someone remotely to sit in this meeting, or hey, we need to put 4 people through training. And the organization should have the flexibility to be able to allow you to do that. I know many organizations are starting to pivot to a remote model. That should make it even easier, Look for organizations that provide you with a network of free tools and resources, free webinars, free podcasts, free white papers, free videos, free comic books. I can go down a list with you. The more an organization is trying to extend to you for free, the more they're trying to give, usually that means the greater the offering is. That means that they're going to have a lot more to offer you than an organization who's not doing that. What we find is that organizations who are willing to work with you and to provide you with tools that you need to be successful at no charge are going to be the ones who provide you with even greater service when you find that you're paying a fee to get those services. So I hope this kind of helps you get your head around it. From a coaching perspective, look for individuals that are T-shaped, that have both experience in your industry and outside of your industry. Look for industry-relevant, positive feedback. And look for organizations that are going to stand behind the quality of the work that they deliver. So, Jonathan, I hope that answers your question. And I hope it didn't sound too much like I was giving myself a plug, because I think it was kind of a loaded question. So with that being said, we want to thank you. And as always, we encourage you to go to AgileDad.com, and specifically to learn more at AgileDad.com, where you can submit your ideas for topics that we cover on the Daily Stand-Up Podcast. So with no further ado, I want to say thank you. It's been an awesome week. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, stay healthy, stay well, stay agile, and as always, take care, my friends.